What is up, everybody? Welcome to High School Never Ends, a pop-punk-dad podcast. I'm Wingman Steve.
And I'm Chris 183. Welcome back to the hodgepodge month, where we're just picking whatever we want. We're doing whatever we want. And today, we're actually going to do a Chris Picks. That's what we want to do tonight. And I was thinking about what to do for Chris Picks because I've got a chance to pick a lot of the ones that I like already. I think there's still a lot out there. Actually, I know there is. And the reason why I know that is because tonight we're going to talk about one that I feel is a long time coming. However, I'm more of a fan of this band than I am of this album because I was largely unfamiliar with this album until we got a suggestion from one of our friends of the show, longtime friends of the show. You guys know him. He's been on the show before. So let me stop, take a second, and welcome back Lad, otherwise known as PunkishDad. Lad, what's up? Welcome back to High School Never Ends.
What's going on, guys? I'm stoked to talk some Goldfinger tonight.
Yeah, that's right.
Goldfinger.
I didn't say Goldfinger, but that's what it is, Goldfinger. And when I said I'm more of a fan of this band than I am this album, it rings true. I couldn't be more of a bigger fan of the band Goldfinger. But because I'm the type of person that just gets kind of set in their ways with the albums that they like, sometimes you don't necessarily have the energy or the want to listen to anything new or some of the things new, because I can't say I haven't listened to any new Goldfinger. I definitely have. We've done it on this show. But this is an album that I did not listen to, and I wholly skipped until Lad mentioned it. And he said, "Why haven't we done this?" And I said, "I don't know. Maybe we should." And here we are. So that said, I guess first of all, Lad, like why did you suggest this one?
Well, a couple of reasons. I just mainly put it in the Discord because I didn't think that I'd ever heard you guys talk about this album. Maybe a little bit. I know you had the episode on Never Look Back, and it seemed, if I remember right, it seems like you both liked that one. And so I threw this out and wondered if you guys had talked about it, and I think the answer was no, which is why we're here tonight. So I thought there'd be stuff on there that both of you would like, but now you're making me second guess that, Chris. So I guess we'll find out as we go along.
Well, I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm just saying it in a way that I came at it with fresh eyes because I know what I'm getting normally from Goldfinger, and I know what I like and what I don't necessarily like. I can't sit here and say I like every single Goldfinger song that was ever put out there, but I like most of them. I love most of them. So I was really excited to do this. But before we talk about what I think, let's go over to so Steve. I really just want to know, first of all, like refresh the listeners' memories. What are your overall thoughts on the band Goldfinger?
Well, I will get to that, but I want to say maybe the reason why we didn't get to it is because it's not old and it's not new, right? We got the brand new one that came out in 2017. We hadn't started doing the show yet, but it's not like that classic. Anyways, all right. I just wanted to point that out. But yes, what is my Goldfinger? I like Goldfinger. I think I don't have one bad word to say about Goldfinger. I am not a super fan. I didn't listen to a lot of their stuff, back in the day, if you will. I like ska-punk stuff. I know there's a bit of a debate. Are they pop-punk? Are they ska? They do some reggae stuff. A little bit of everything. All that stuff I like. Never really got into their discography. Definitely was a fan of the big singles, and they do a lot of big covers. They did 99 Red Balloons, and there's another one, and Superman and Mabel. So like the big songs I know, but I never was a particular big fan. And then at some point, I don't remember what the reason why we did it or the theme was, but yeah, we did Never Look Back, which was their 2020 album. And I thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. So I was looking forward. I had never heard of The Knife as a record before either one of the two. Whoever brought it up first, I had not heard of it before that. And so I am listening also with like super fresh ears on this one.
Yeah, the knife snuck in there. Here's the thing. You said it's not old and new, but 2017, that's closer to being a decade away from where we're at right now.
It's closer to new than it is old. I'll say that, but
I guess. Yeah. What's old, 20, 30 years ago, I guess. It depends on what you look at it, but I always look, I only bring that up because when people bring up, oh yeah, 2019 or 2018, it doesn't seem like that long ago, but guys, it was longer than we think. Time's flying, and so are the albums. And just like things kind of sneak in, this was one of them, and I missed it completely. So looking forward to talking about this.
Let me throw in a quick shout out to our patrons. Got a couple of new ones this month. Chris and Punk Rock Mom, thanks for subscribing. Jeff, Tom, himself right here, PunkishDad, Ashley, Jason, Sam, and Nick.
Yeah, very, very cool, very cool. So, in terms of the album itself, I already kind of went through what my thoughts were, actually what my experiences were. I didn't have any. I can go back and just tell you that, Goldfinger, just for those of you that have never listened to the show ever before, and there might be some of you out there, Goldfinger definitely was one of the initial albums that really got me into punk music, punk ska, type of sound. They were a little bit more punk, at the beginning with some ska. I will argue on Discord that again and again and again. I do not believe this is a ska band whatsoever. I think they're a punk band with some ska influence, but this is wholly, I think, a punk band, and that's what I'm going to stand by. But that said, I came about Goldfinger on a whim. I was at a rock concert. It was like a compilation, like a radio station concert, kind of like Warped Tour, but not. And just by chance, I was traveling underneath the tent, which is the tent was an area where it's like secondary bands would play. And I saw that this band was on that had a lot of energy. So I stopped and I watched. And it was Goldfinger, and it was amazing. And I had such a blast watching them play under this tent. No stage. It was just them right in front of us. And it was such an awesome show. I went out and bought the album Goldfinger self-titled, and I never looked back from there. There was a time where I kind of separated myself from the band. I just kind of lost interest for a number of reasons, but it wasn't until, many albums in, I think I made it to Open Your Eyes. Maybe it was past that, but it was around that time that I kind of separated from the band a little bit, but I never forgot about how I felt about the initial albums. So here we are with this new album, and I'll stop there and I'll ask you guys, like, Steve, you already said, your history with the band. Lad, do you have any history with Goldfinger, like way back in the day?
Yeah, we go way back. I remember hearing Here in Your Bedroom on the radio back in '96 when it first came out, and I was instantly hooked on that. I bought the self-titled. I still have the CD, in fact, that I bought way back in the day. And I followed them from there. Obviously, they were on Tony Hawk Pro Skater with Superman, and so the Hang Ups album, I listened to that one quite a bit. And then when Stomping Ground came out in 2000, I liked that one a lot. But then I lost track of them into the 2000s, completely lost track at that point. So when The Knife came out, it was kind of, I revisited those albums since then, but this got me back into Goldfinger, and I've been listening quite a bit ever since then.
Steve, do you think that this is a band that pretty much holds its identity with the music? Like, you could listen to self-titled, you can listen to Hang Ups, you could listen to The Knife, and you pretty much know what you're getting with some variants? Or do you think it's starkly different from then until now?
I don't think I have enough of the history to listen. We did Goldfinger, the self-titled record, for our show, so I listened to that one. I've heard a bunch of singles in the middle, and obviously the two most recent ones, but I don't think it's starkly different. I think that the lyrics and the concepts have probably evolved over the course of time. John Feldman and company are older people at this point in time than they were back in 1996 and 1997. Sure. But I think the music pretty much holds up. This album in particular, I guess if you take away some of the production and you put it next to one of those earlier albums, like, I don't know, is it that starkly different? I'm not the expert to say it, but I think that they've kind of maintained a pretty good consistency without getting stale. But then again, there's like 5 albums that I don't know, but that's my outside perspective.
Lad, what do you think?
I think that for the most part, I guess I'm missing a couple of albums that I didn't listen to much. Disconnection, Notice, and a couple of others. But other than that, I think it's pretty consistent in the sense that they don't have horns in every single song. They don't have like ska guitar upstrokes in every song. They have some that are just straightforward punk rock tunes. But then they have others that where they mix in some of that ska, and on most of the albums that I know. With the one exception, I think of the album Hang Ups. I consider that more of a ska album. Almost every song has horns and upstrokes on that one, kind of that style of guitar playing. But
You were a bit
others,
giggly when Chris was saying that they're a punk band and not a ska band. So I don't know. Did you have an
I
opposite perspective?
You
I
were one of the
categor-
ones that did not agree, right? You
I
didn't agree with
will.
that.
I'm middle ground. I categorize them as ska-punk, and I think I've heard them say that themselves. I think Goldfinger and Less Than Jake I call ska-punk.
I would be in that camp. I'd say if you have horns like frequently enough, doesn't have to be every song. I think that the word ska could be part of your definition, but it's not only ska. So I'm going to jump on your bandwagon or wherever you got that from.
Yeah, I mean, but if you listen to their first album, it's not that. So are you basing it just on the one album?
No, I think if you go back to the self-titled, they have songs with horns. They have the similar guitar style, and then they have some that are straightforward rock bangers. Just very punk rock, like the song "Anxiety." I think that is one of my favorite all-time songs by any band. There's no horns, no ska style in that one, but some of the others, I feel like that album is also pretty consistent as a ska punk style.
Ooh, I don't see it. And I think that's where that discussion on the Discord was, where I don't see, because I don't even think like Here in Your Bedroom is a ska song. I think it has the upbeat, but that's it. So or the upstroke actually is what the term to use.
Is
But
there no trumpet in that one?
no.
Okay.
So I mean that's it, and with a little bit of trumpet doesn't always just automatically mean ska. To me, like you can have aspects, different instruments, and not necessarily go in that direction. I'm not saying ska is bad. Trust me, like that's not my point. I actually really, really, really love Hang Ups. I think it's one of my favorite albums of that year, 1998 when it came out. So just a huge fan, but I think they do a really good job with, using ska, mixing it with that punk sound. And, that's why I think they're a punk band with some ska elements. That said, while I have the mic, I'll keep saying it. It doesn't matter because the music, I think, is really what speaks for itself. And look, I mean, Goldfinger to me is important and I think successful because of a couple different reasons. Number one, the energy that this band has and always emits in most of their songs. Some of them are a little bit more laid back, but most have this upbeat energy that you can't match. It's just amazing. It makes you feel a certain way. And the other thing is John Feldman, number one, is an amazing vocalist. He just has a way of singing things that's out of this world. Like it's very unique. And the guy, and maybe the guy in conjunction with some others, but I would dare to say that he's a big part of the reason why they write such amazing melodies and great songs. It sounds so good because he knows how to do it. The guy's a producer. He has the ear for it. So you put him in this situation to write his own songs, perform them. And also nowadays, like he collabs with some great artists, Mike Herrera from MXPX and some other guys from other bands. I know one of the guys that was former Story of the Years in the band. Like it's really cool to have that. It ends up being just an amazing product. So I don't know. I kind of went on a tangent, but I think that the answer to the question that I asked, I think that yes, they've been consistent with the sound. I do think that the production value obviously has gone up, but I think that when you hear a Goldfinger, it's a Goldfinger song, regardless if it's 2020 versus 1997.
Yeah,
So,
John Feldman's voice, I feel like in a subgenre of music where singers can get confused, I don't know, I feel like his is pretty unique. Like I can kind of tell it's him when it's him.
Yeah, it's very identifiable.
yeah. So do we have any stats on this album, Steve?
Just a couple. So it came out July 21st, 2017, summer record. On Rise Records, it was produced by John Feldman with some assistance from Zach Cervini and Matt Pauling. This is the first recording that you could kind of consider the supergroup lineup of Goldfinger. So, of course, you have John Feldman. Chris, you mentioned Philip Sneed, who was in Story of the Year. Mike Herrera has joined for this. And on the kit is, the one and only Travis Barker. So, I mean, listening to this record, that some of those stand out, but the drumming, like when Travis is on anything, you're like, that's probably Travis because he just goes bonkers. But no numbers in charting or anything like that. But yeah, that's about it.
I didn't know. I'm just real quick, lad. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was Travis on drums.
Yeah,
and now everything makes so much more sense to me. So okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, this is coming off the heels of the California album, obviously, where Feldman worked with Blink, and then Zach Cervini had a lot to do with that California album too. But yeah, I don't want to say nervous. I was actually kind of excited to hear the supergroup approach because I knew Feldman had been the driving force. But it was interesting to not have Charlie Paulson on the record, who's the guitarist. He's back in the band now, and he was on Never Look Back, but he wasn't on this one, and neither was Darren Pfeiffer, I think was his name, on the drums. So yep. I wasn't sure what I would think about that, but it's, I guess we'll find out as we get into it that they obviously, these folks can hold their own musically.
I don't think I ever knew. I definitely knew that Mike Herrera joined Goldfinger, but that was the only one that I knew. I don't think that I saw a lot of press about Philip Sneed or Travis Barker. I mean, maybe I just missed it, but whatever.
There was no press. Like, I didn't hear about it either. I didn't see anything about it, but I wasn't looking, because again, I fell out of really paying very close attention to Goldfinger in this time frame. So I guess, again, if I'm not looking for it, it may not be something that was out there. I don't know how popular this band was to the mainstream in 2017. Probably not very, but I don't know if Goldfinger really ever was incredibly mainstream.
I don't think they were.
I'm not sure. Probably, I mean, maybe just at times. Like, I think most people know the Superman song because if you played Tony Hawk Pro Skater, sure. And lots of people played that video game. And I think Here in Your Bedroom was quite popular. I remember hearing it just on the radio. I would listen to the radio specifically for it. But yeah. I think the average music fan probably doesn't know that much about them. The only reason I discovered this album was I knew it when it was happening in the moment because I was following John Feldman on Instagram and he was promoting the heck out of it. And I started following him because he was involved in the Blink album. And that's just kind of what led to it from there. And then they started playing shows again around that time. So I was just the right place, right time, I guess.
Nowadays, it's great because we have all of our listener friends on the Instagrams. And when anybody is featured in something, they'll send it to us. So it's more easily digestible.
Maybe someday they'll come back to the not the East Coast because they do go to Jersey, I believe, every year. But man, they never really hit my area that I know of.
Skanksgiving, so November 2024.
That's in Jersey, right?
It was, yes.
Because they still do that. They
did last year. I don't know if it's an annual thing, but I may have put together a little setlist game, so I checked it out.
Ooh, there it is. All right, guys. So any other stories or commentary before we get into this song by song?
I'm done on exposition.
No, I'm ready to dive in.
Let's dive in and, lad, guess always, not always, but you will get the first one this time because you called it. You called this one out. So why don't you kick us off with A Million Miles?
Yeah, I love this one. I don't have a ton of notes. It's this I would consider a punk song. It's a banger punk song to open the album. There's a lot of haze and woes, a lot of gang vocals on this one through the whole album, really. But it just gets the energy up. It's a good opener. There's some really intricate guitar work, especially right-handed guitar work with some really fast palm muting. Yeah, I love this one. Kicks it off, a 2-minute track, just a good start for me.
Can you, when you say right-handed guitar work, are you saying that because John Feldman is a righty or because you can hear something?
No, well, listening as a guitarist, I can hear it. Like it's not very, like he's not moving his left hand at all He's just holding one chord, but it sounds a lot different when you palm mute on like 16th notes up and down. Like it's very intricate. I can hear it. I have a hard time explaining it. But
But could a
it'd be
lefty not do that?
no, they could. I'm just saying you're right. Your left hand is holding still, and your right hand is strumming. Your strumming hand is what I should, I guess,
Okay,
said.
okay. Because
So
if
most,
you're lefty, then you're opposite, right?
yeah, then it would be your left hand, your strumming hand, I guess. But most guitarists are right-handed, so
That was not meant to call you out. Just the general fascination and trying to figure out what you're talking about.
yeah, strumming hand is really really intricate work, especially at the end of the second verse going into the chorus.
Yeah, I didn't understand any of that, but I'm sure it makes a ton of sense. I wish I could hear that stuff. I really do. That's why
Chris,
we
just
have you here on the
remember in
show.
Guitar Hero, like, your finger is on the yellow, your left is on the yellow, and your right is going up and down and up and down. That's the super simple way to say it.
Here, quick tangent. My son, I walked in, he was playing Guitar Hero on Fortnite, but on a controller. Apparently, it's very, very popular right now. And I was like, "Oh, you got to play this on a guitar." So can you guess it doesn't work? You cannot. It will not accept a guitar controller without like some kind of mod thing that you have to use. But oh, I wanted him to use the guitar. Wanted him to play it. Oh my
Just break
God.
out the real game.
But he was really good at it. And I'm like, like father, like son. All right. So A Million Miles. It's such a great song to kick this album off with, because it's such a big song, and Goldfinger does these big songs so well. This is one, it's just packed full of those of drum rolls, pick scrapes, fast tempos. I love how they hold the notes at the end of lines long, and they go up and down the chords. Feldman holds that note and it goes up and down. It's really cool to listening to that. And it's also funny how they can take something as simple as saying, where did my life go, over and over and over again, and it never gets boring, just by the fact that they sing it in a way that continues to stay exciting and interesting. This one again doesn't have a ton of lyrics, but man, it doesn't matter. Like, you want to just sing this out loud. That's how awesome the music is and the way John sings it. I think this is just a classic. This is just classic Goldfinger magic that makes this one come to life, and I love it. Steve, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I found the song to be somewhat simplistic. There's a lot of repetition in it, but it's done pretty much perfectly. Incredibly classic kind of pop punk jam here. The first time I heard it, it felt like I had heard it a million times. Just on that first listen, like immediately I'm like, oh, I get it. Like, where did my life go? And I'm just singing along. I've heard it for 3 seconds. It does have a little kind of ska-y section. Lad, you mentioned those haze and the woes and the harmonies. We'll see a lot more of those and that kind of stuff on this album. All things that I always enjoy. And, you can tell that the drums are like, they're turned up, man. The way Travis does it, it all comes together in a great kickoff track here.
The drums on this album are lights out. Like, it's just it's prevalent in almost every single song. The amazing drumming, and I was actually thinking to myself, and I told you this earlier, like, wow, this guy, who was drumming on this, is it? I didn't even know who it was, but I'm like, they're at the level of Travis Barker. Like, it's that good, and it is Travis Barker.
Haha.
All right, Steve, get what you need.
I will get what I need. So, all right, we got some horns in this one, a little more of the ska vibes. I really love the horns in the intro of this track. The lyrics, especially in at least in the first verse, they just scream just degenerate youth, which I love to listen to and kind of sing along to and put myself in his headspace and whatever he was talking about, smashing the windows and playing Bad Brains fucking loud and smoking weeds on the streets, like all this crazy stuff. And then just a huge chorus. And the way that he delivers the lyrics, someday you'll find, da-na-na-na-na-na, and then it goes into the like fast kind of chunky worded section, lost myself just to get, like, it picks up the tempo a little bit. It's great. I feel like this chorus is top tier. towards the end of the song, Travis gets like a little 2 second solo that he just does so well. Like if you're like, hey drummer, you have 2 to 3 seconds, just do whatever the hell you want. Like he just fucking kills it every time. Yeah, really good number 2 track after a really good number 1 track.
All right. So you're right. Time to bring in the horns. And this song does it right away. They just they cart him in, and then you get that reggae ska. They get that reggae ska like type of sound, but it's not necessarily the whole song. It seems like it's just bits and pieces, maybe towards the it's towards the chorus, but then you get that big melodic punk chorus. I love that shift there. You talked about why that low high. You sang it. It's phenomenal. That's just phenomenal right there. That's so catchy, so memorable, and it's simplistic again. Like it's taking something very simplistic in terms of what the chorus is made up with, and you make it just 5 to 10 times bigger based on the musical arrangement, the way it's sung. So I kind of like I personally like the parts a little more that were a little less of the reggae ska. And that might have to grow on me, but I also can say that the way that Goldfinger is able to mix the two in, it makes it just fine. So even though, like, I would say, if I want to listen to parts of the song and really get into it, it might be those other parts. But I would never throw the reggae ska parts out the window because they mix them in. It sounds like it belongs in the song, and it sounds great. And like I said, like I can't sit here and say bad things about reggae and ska sounding Goldfinger stuff after I just got saying how much I love Hang Up. So, I think there's something to say about that. Now, granted, I listened to Hang Ups probably 10 billion times. So things grow on you, and that's why I kind of said that earlier about this song. But I think it's a nice follow up to the first song. It's a little bit different. It gives you that little bit different of a sound, but it gives you some of the same mixed in as well. What'd you think, lad?
Yeah, I like this one. This is the first time that on the album the bass lines really start to stand out. If you haven't done this, it's kind of a fun exercise. Listen back to the whole album and just listen to the bass lines. Mike Herrera is just killing it on this. It seems like maybe it's he's freed up because he doesn't have to sing on this album, so he can go a little more crazy with the bass lines. But man, they're just tasty licks there from Mike. Also, the guitar on this track was the guitarist from Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. There's a lot of guest features on this album, but he played guitar, and when you listen back to it, you can totally hear the guitar tone, and the style is very much a Boss Tone style. There's that great drum transition towards the end, coming out of the bridge into that last chorus that Steve mentioned. Love that part. I can't help but air drum it. Like I can't not do it every time I hear it, even though I don't know what I'm doing on the drums. But this really is the perfect ska song, and it's the sequencing on this album is just great. You go from a 100-mile-an-hour opener punk rock song into an upbeat, fun ska song, and just keeps the energy rolling. If this were played live, those two in sequence, it would be a high energy show, which they always are as performers. But I think the sequencing throughout this album was really well done as far as keeping the energy levels the way that they want them.
And I'll tell you what, I was on John Feldman's Instagram, and there's a post where he was like, "Thank you, blah blah blah, for letting us play your backyard birthday party." I felt like I was in high school. I'm like, geez, oh man, to get Goldfinger to play my backyard for my birthday. Like there'd be room in my backyard right by the pool. I'm sure they would be able to play. Build a stage. The next door neighbor can take down the fence for one day, and we just build a stage and make it happen. See if we can make that
save
happen.
up like $15,000. You could probably make that happen.
You just got to know the right people, right? Just make the right connections. No, so I'll start this next one off. Am I deaf? We're going back into the non-ska territory, but what a great song. And I'll tell you what, so this song, I don't have a ton of notes on this either, I'm the first one to start, but It's a great song, and the reason why I like it, I think the melody's fine. I think it's well put together, but I really like the message here. It's reflecting on ourselves, our age, nostalgia, us versus a new generation of what they're listening to. I think we talk about a lot of that on the show, and we have for the last 5 years. And he's bringing it up in this song, kind of comparing what he's into versus what he thinks is out there today. And it's a really cool message, for us to listen to and think about those things that we do anyway. So I thought that I kind of get wrapped up in that and in the lyrics on this song a little bit more than the music. But yeah, I mean they put that theme to another great melody. It's about all I have to say, other than the fact that it's a nice package and it's a nice continuation of the album. So I was into this one.
Lad, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of notes. I like this one musically. It does feel, admittedly, it feels maybe a little boomerish, complaining about the youth of today. But he also acknowledges that, like, I sound just like my dad did to me. So, and I think that's part of the message, is that that's part of the cycle of just kind of getting older and realizing it. And, well, the older generations tend to criticize the younger ones because we notice things are different and whatever. But at the same time, they do awesome things. So I like this one musically. It's a fun song. It's not a skip. And it just acknowledged that there is a little bit of that, those tendencies to, criticize the youths of after chorus one, everything is boring kind of thing. But that maybe we're all getting a little bit that way in this day and age, short attention spans.
No, I mean, I think just because music is better then than it is now. They have Machine Gun Kelly, we have Goldfinger. Do the math. Steve.
I'm not going to do that math, but funny enough, this song was actually written like 4 years before this album came out. Like they put this song out in 2013 as the first single, and then I don't know. I guess they were going to do an album. I don't know. It got delayed, so this song had been out for a long time by the time this album came out. I don't know. I find this is a bit of like the perfect song for all of us, aging punk rockers. That classic sound that kind of start and stops on the guitars. Another super catchy chorus highlighted by this shit, 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 which stands out and makes you remember it for sure. I mean, the one verse, Chris, I'm not sure how you didn't bring this up. I know you hate this in real life. Video record every show you see, sing along, but you aren't here with me.
I missed it.
But it, like, for real, I found it was, sure, maybe you can say it's a little boomerish or whatever, but I thought it's a great take on how music and shows have changed. And then when he does reference, he says, I know that I sound just like my dad did to me. I thought that was kind of the perfect way to, drop that music and just make it more. There's also a dropout of the music right after that, which makes it like, I don't know, a little bit more powerful. And then, you kind of round out this song with na-nas and harmonies. And I think even if this wasn't put out 4 years prior, I would have said this should be the first single. And there were 3 singles. I mean, I don't know what a single really is in 2017. I don't think anything was on the radio. It's probably just what they released on their socials and stuff like that. But this was, I guess, technically the first one. So I think that's a good pick. And that's, number 3. That's your typical powerhouse spot for that.
Can't disagree with you. Tijuana Sunrise. I think it's back to you, lad, to kick us off.
Yeah, I like this one. This one, slows it down a bit, takes it down a pace. And this is a song that tells a story, and that's always kind of fun. This is a true story, by the way. John, I saw him just online introduce a song live. I think it was back during the pandemic. They did a live stream, and he introduced the song, said, "This is a 100% true story from my life." And another great bass line. The bass line really carries it here. There's some, tasteful horns added in. Fun one. I like this one. Definitely not a skip.
Steve?
I was kind of hoping, Chris, that you would break out your trumpet from like 4th grade and like play the intro to this. I feel like if you decided you wanted to get back into trumpet, that you would start with this song. I would love to see that happen. in real
If I
life.
would have known that this type of music would be such a big part of my life, I probably would have stuck with it.
You could get back to it. There's muscle memory there, I think.
Maybe.
Um, I certainly enjoy a ska slash drinking ska reggae drinking song. I know it's supposed to be in Tijuana, which I don't believe is an. I just picture him just being sad, drinking on this island. Like it's the absolute opposite of like a Corona commercial. You know, Corona wants you to be happy, your feet in the sand and drinking that Corona. This is the total opposite. You know, he's wasted trying to forget how good it was. He's drinking all along. I mean, overall, I think it's definitely a super enjoyable song. I kind of like the faster paced stuff a little bit better, especially on this album. Again, this was a single. This was the third single, so I don't know. I'm kind of somewhat surprised that they put this one out as a single. But again, 2017, what really is a single? But I thought this is a fun song. I feel bad for him. You know, he was in a bad spot at this point.
I could see, man. The only thing I really can come up with here without knowing the ins and outs of his life is that maybe they thought that this type of song would be something the mainstream or just the bit larger audience would enjoy, because people do enjoy this kind of music. It's a vibe. It's a summer vibe song, right? You got to be in the mood for this type of song to enjoy it. And as much as I wanted to write this one off, that I'm not really into like the reggae sound. I kind of got into it a little bit more as I would listen to it. So I gave it a little bit more of a chance, and I'm glad I did. But yeah, I do have to be in a certain mood. I think, even though it's not like the lightest of subject matters when you listen to lyrics, I agree with you, Steve. I think this could be one, like if you're out, at the beach bar or by the pool and you're just listening to music and the sunshine, you got a pina colada by you, you're listening to this song, it can be super enjoyable. So I don't know about in the depths of winter when it's like negative 10 degrees, if you're going to listen to Tijuana Sunrise. Maybe you do. Maybe you want to think about that time and that's something that puts you in that place. I don't know. But either way, I think there's a time and a place for this song. It's definitely well put together. It sounds really great. It's just not necessarily your average run of the mill fair Goldfinger. So if you can't get into the change, I get it. But I think it's pretty good. All right. Who's next? Steve, you want to kick off the next one?
I'll put the knife away. Anybody else feel a little hit or missy vibe in the opening guitar line? Maybe just a little bit. Anyone else?
I'd have to listen to it again. I don't know. It didn't hit me.
I don't know. I heard it a little bit, so I wrote it down. Another very big chorus with this song. It comes off very anthemic. It comes off, the entire song comes off super fun, but I think the concept is pretty adult and it's pretty evolved. Like kind of, let's talking to your person. Let's just talk this out. Put the knife away. In this particular song, I kind of hear like some Blink. I kind of hear some MXPX. I even at like one little point kind of hear a little Story of the Year, and it's all kind of mixed together. So I don't know how they wrote this or if it was a collaboration or not, but I kind of get vibes from all of these members here, and of course, gang vocals at the end. I think that the album has started off very, very strong.
It has so many components that you love.
So many.
Yeah, this is a great song. I would even dare to say semi-titular.
It has the word knife in it. Yeah, semi-titular.
You got to somewhat agree with that, but
They mention a knife a few times, right?
They do. They definitely do. Or as you say, the knife. I like the part where there's a line that kind of catapults you into this big anthemic chorus. So the line is not close to my neck. So if you listen to it along and you hear that line, it just bursts. It just shoots you like a cannonball directly into the chorus, and it's such a cool feeling. And I love that part of the song up to that point. It's kind of even up to that point, and then you hit that part of the roller coaster that just air jets you, straight down the hill. So I definitely think that's a call out. I do have the call out about the drums. Again, this is before that, I can't put two and two together, and you guys said that Travis Barker was the guy. The drums are so good on this track. It just it melds so well with Feldman's vocals. You couldn't have a better marriage of the two. I just think it's just so top notch the way all that kind of works together. And I think the first two verses, what they did was they set up a great post second chorus breakdown. If I'm saying that right, whatever's after the second chorus, there's that little interlude part. It's lyrics. It's not just music. Call it the breakdown if that's not what it's called. Whatever, but it makes that third chorus, that reprise of the third chorus after that. I get so much more into it emotionally after listening to that part and the build to that part. It's just so much better. This song from front to back, I think, was amazing. So I was really into this one. Lad, what did you think?
Yeah, big fan, and I believe you're correct. I wrote down that that's a breakdown too. So
Woohoo!
there's kind of this cool guitar part in the bridge that goes right into a breakdown, and I love this one. This was the first song I heard from the album. I'm pretty sure they released it early. It might have been the first single, but it's definitely the first one I heard, and it got me really stoked for the album to come out. And the gang vocals throughout just add to the energy. Just a really well done punk rock song, pop punk song, in my opinion.
Cool. All right, I'll kick this next one off, and this is an interesting one. It's such a diverse mix here. So we're back to reggae. I think this song wants to be reggae ska, maybe even a little bit more on the reggae side of things, as you kind of get into that first chorus. But when you hit the hang on part, which is I guess the chorus, it kind of melds into something else. It mixes the two together with like a punk melodic sound with that reggae behind it, and it sounds like something brand new, and I really enjoy that. I think that's what makes this song so special, is it's just not one or the other. It's making the two one. And so if you've never listened to the song out there, go listen to it, let me know what you think, because you kind of have to hear it to know what I'm talking about. And I think this is also another one of those certain vibe songs. You have to be into this type of thing. Uh, but the songwriting again is just top notch when you think about what I just said. And hey, you're not going to get an intense, high energy song here from Goldfinger. So some may think, that's not necessarily good. Like that's not what they want out of this band. Maybe they feel like they're at their best when they are that high energy, go go go. But I don't know. I'm kind of torn on this one because I think it's good. I think it's good the way it is. I'm not necessarily depressed that it's not, full blast, even a part of it. But I don't know. I'm a little on the iffy side. So I'm actually curious to hear what you guys think. Go ahead, Steve.
Um, yeah, this one doesn't do too much for me. I think it's the slower pace. The chorus is very simple, kind of et cetera, et cetera. There was a little muffled drum thing in the very beginning, little feel in this kind of like thing. I guess if I want to point out a positive, I like when he addresses this ain't a comeback song. They kind of did have a long hiatus right before this. Overall, I don't think this one was one of my favorites. I didn't have a ton of notes on it.
You
I
think
just
that was a
have,
different was that a different lyricist, guys, that did that verse?
yeah,
It
there's
ain't a comeback. Okay.
this is the first guest vocalist on the album. It's I don't know his name. He's a Japanese rock star from a band called One OK Rock, I think is the name of it.
Oh, okay.
I'll say his name wrong. Takahiro, I think, is the last name. But yeah,
Then
so that's the
then that
first.
positive can get thrown out because it wasn't even John Feldman saying it.
Yeah. But yeah, this song's fine. If I were to skip a song on the album, this would probably be it. I mean, I'm not jumping for the skip button, but the horn players probably love it because there's some pretty cool horn work in there. I'm pretty sure it's trombone. Sometimes I have a hard time telling my horns apart, but for sure there's some slide in there, so I think it's trombone. But yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's a fine song, but if there were a skip, that's probably the one for me.
The trombones have the spit valve. Do you know?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Jeez. What do you do with that? You just let it go on the ground?
Yeah,
Is there a
exactly.
bucket? Was there a bucket or something?
No, it just goes on the ground. That's
Like,
why
can you
band
imagine?
rooms don't smell very good.
Can you imagine like after the boss tones are done playing, what that stage looks like?
Well, there's a spit valve for the trombones, for the trumpets. I think. I don't know. No, there's not one for the saxophone. You gotta turn it over and pour it out.
Imagine if you have to be that guy in the boss tones that only dances around the stage. You got to really watch where you're going because you're going to slip one of these days.
Got to be careful.
And there's a lot of people on stage.
They do have a lot of people on stage. At least Goldfinger doesn't have a ton of people on stage, so they can do this kind of thing and get away with it. That said, as there's no segue, but I don't know. One of you guys, you take the lead on this next one.
Beacon. All right, I guess I'll go. This one, I like the chorus a lot, but I kind of feel like the vocals, like he's only given it like 75%. Like it's not really turned up. It's kind of muted down. I think the bridge is my favorite part of the song. Is there are kind of some ska vibes in the background, and it goes into this like guitar solo, which is kind of pretty killer. Um, Overall, I'd say that this one to me was kind of mid tier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead, lad.
Yeah, I just wrote down literally my only note on this one is solid album track. Like I don't consider this to be like a single. I don't think it's one of the things they would be pushing, but it's a solid album track. I don't skip it. I enjoy listening to it. That's all I
You know,
got. That one.
I don't think you guys are way off the mark on this one. But I do think, Goldfinger has had really good album tracks in the past. And, I guess I could compare it to some of them that are on the original Goldfinger album, but, they take time to sink in and for you to actually really appreciate what they are. I'm with you guys, though. Like, I think this one has that classic Goldfinger punks sound. I think it's nothing over the top, just like you said, very straightforward. Verse, chorus, verse, very safe, Goldfinger sound, but it's classic, and the melody still feels familiar and nostalgic. So I think it's good. It's fine. It's not a skip for me, but it's not a standout either. So I think we're all on the same page there. I can kick off this next one. I don't have much here, so I think this was in a so first of all, like much different direction here. At first, I was like, "Is this a song I could play at a Halloween party?" Because it kind of feels like it could be. Maybe that's just me looking at the album cover and listening to this. I don't know. What I will say, it's very theatric in nature. It's it's not ska. I don't think this is ska, but it has ska elements, and it's very marchy in terms of the sound. But yeah, I think this could be like you could see this on a stage in a theater performance. Like this is that type of song that has a story to it. It gets you, kind of involved in what he's trying to say, and the music kind of moves it along. It's cool. It's cool. I just wasn't expecting this from Goldfinger, so I was a little surprised. Go ahead, guys. I don't know if you have other thoughts.
Little Scalloween, maybe.
That was in my head, but again, maybe I'm biased because I'm looking at two skeletons on the front cover.
Could be.
So I don't know.
You
I
know,
like.
I,
Go ahead.
I have some thoughts on the cover. It's actually an Easter egg, the album cover. So their very first demo that they made album artwork for it, and it was that same thing. It was a boy giving flowers to a girl, and she had a knife hidden behind her back. And it's very crudely drawn, so they weren't skeletons, but in the original demo. But I went back and found the post. I'll send it to you guys so you can see it. But that is an Easter egg for the major old school fans on that one.
Nice.
Neat.
So I like the fast paced kind of lyrics on the verses here. I like the chorus a lot, other than the ashes, we all fall down. I thought that was just a little bit too kitschy for me. I didn't like that one particular line. I think there are these trumpet hits. I can't hear them in my head, but I made a note about these do trumpet hits that were really fun and absolute sick drumming by Travis in this one, where there's that, I don't even know what it is, kind of in the post chorus kind of thing. This is not the end. No, this is not the end. Where he just kind of repeats that a whole bunch of times, and Travis just goes absolutely nuts. So I really liked Who's Laughing Now.
Yeah, I liked it too. I wrote down trumpet stabs. I don't know if they're called stabs,
Maybe.
but on guitar they're kind of called stabs when you do like quick staccato type notes, which they're kind of fun to listen to. They're catchy. I love that heavy outro because it's a ska song, right? Definitely a ska song, but the outro was really heavy with the drums going to halftime and Travis just crashing out and heavy guitars, but the horns are still in there too in the outro. So pretty cool songwriting, cool elements. I enjoyed this one.
I gotta disagree. I don't think it's a ska song. It's kind of like it's more of like a swing type of song than it is ska. I don't hear it, guys. You have a different ear, I guess.
I hear horns and I hear upstrokes. I don't know how else to categorize it.
I don't know if it's like that's not how I would necessarily categorize this one. I hear other things that drown that out.
We should do an exercise and determine what are the elements that make a ska song or make a song ska. We should determine that and then do some analysis on this album or on Goldfinger in general. See how many fall into that bucket.
Just like, is it cake or not cake? Is it ska or not ska?
I think is it cake or is it not cake is quite definitive. Where is it ska or not? There's a little bit left up to the.
I don't know. I've seen recent TV shows where we had you fooled, right?
Right, but if it's cake, then it is cake.
You might know it's not. You might not know it's cake. That's the point. Yeah, we could go on and on. I just these are just I don't know. I don't know how to convince you guys otherwise, but it is what it is. Say it out loud. Steve, kick us off on this one.
Yeah, I love that they have. So this is something that's pretty much I think it's totally different than we've really heard. There's like this doo-wop guitar that's like mixed with these claps. I think that let me read my notes here. I found that it was funny where the line that's soft, sang softly, is he saying, "Assassinate me right behind my back now. Will you ever grow a spine?" And then the chorus just gets so big. I feel like that line, they kind of minimalize it a little bit. Travis is doing some of that kind of stick drumming where he kind of taps on the side of the snare. I think that's what it is. A great mix of horns in this song as well. And if I am hearing my horns correctly, there's an awesome saxophone solo, which I don't know that I've heard previously on this particular album. And as a former saxophone player, I thought this was great. So I really like Say It Out Loud. I think if you look at the streams about halfway through, it definitely falls off. But to your point earlier, Lad, about the tracking, I think maybe sometimes when it starts to drag a little bit, they throw something cool at you and get you right back hooked in.
Yeah, I agree. I think this song hooks you right in. It's different though. You're right. Like it's not what I expect from Goldfinger. 2 in a row, in my opinion, that aren't necessarily like the non-ska song, What's Laughing Now, and the Say It Out Loud song that it goes in a different direction, but it's so much fun. This song is so much fun. Steve, did you wear fingerless gloves when you played the saxophone?
I don't think I did.
I thought you were supposed to.
Well, I mean, I was in a marching band for a little while, but I don't think I would wear fingerless gloves because that kind of goes again, like, you want to keep your digits warm. No, I don't think I ever did.
Okay, because you protect the palm, but you have the touch of the fingertips.
I suppose that makes sense. I don't think I did that, but I would buy into that concept.
All right, just had to know that. But yeah, Say It Out Loud. So I love the gallopy tune with the horns, the keyboards, the huge choruses to sing with. It's that amplified music, the amplified music, and I'll say it again, like, because it's that amazingly crafted melody that amplifies the lyrics, so it just bolsters it. Even though the lyrics are simplistic again, it bolsters it to the point where you just want to sing. You just want to sing it You just want to belt it out. You want to get up and dance. And I have that note. Like it makes you want to get up and move because it's such a great song. It makes you feel a certain way. So I love this track so much for those reasons. The only thing I don't like is it starts off, it kind of sounds like that Jet song, Do You Want to Be My Girl? It's the only thing that kind of turns me off here is listen to the beginning and you'll hear that. But other than that, I was into this one.
Yeah, this I mean it's a simple, catchy riff. Same thing with the whole with the Jet song, right? It's a simple, catchy riff. There's a reason that song did as well as it did. And this one, I love that the keys slide in. It starts out with the guitar and then the drums come in and then there's keys in the background that and they stay there throughout the song. But it's kind of fun how they slide in right from the beginning. And then, Steve, you called out saxophone solo. That's a fun way to do that. Instead of a guitar solo, they have the saxophone solo in the middle. So, overall, fun song. I definitely don't skip this one.
I'm just surprised they did. I'm surprised they went this route. Like I know from talking, look, we know from talking to other bands that have recorded with Feldman, like he has ideas sometimes to do certain songs or wants to do it a certain way. Who did we talk to recently that talked about
Tony. Tony had
a ska song that he wanted to do, or like we need a song like that. Maybe it was him. Yeah.
well, we definitely talked to him about Feldman because I think we asked him if he because he kind of butted heads in the song Rooftop, but they have overlap, right? Mest and Goldfinger, they both kind of do some of the ska reggae stuff.
Yeah, maybe it was that conversation, but I could see him saying, "Look, we need to do a song like this. Like we've never done this before, and we got to do it. Herrera, get on that." And no, he doesn't boss Herrera around and tell him what to do.
You don't boss around Mike Herrera.
No, well, he might. He's a strong personality.
You can't mess with that Pacific Northwest. They're strong.
You think Mike Herrera is like a really nice guy. It's so easy to get along with, and he would be semi-bossed around by John Feldman. Do you think so?
I think John Feldman probably is bossier than Mike Herrera, but you never know what people are like behind closed doors when they're recording with lead singer sing drum or anything like that. So, but I would generally say that I would picture John Feldman way bossier than Mike Herrera.
Mm-hmm. And he would just go with it and be like, yeah, whatever. I don't need this nonsense. I just want to play music. That's all I want to do.
I'm just a bass player. I got my own band. Fuck you guys.
All right. Well, I'll do this next one. And look, I think it's no secret that Goldfinger likes to do things that they consider to be funny on these albums. And this is definitely one of those things. So if you think this is funny, you're going to have a blast with it. And if you don't necessarily get the joke as much, it's going to be like, ugh. I'm somewhere in the middle, but I'll tell you what, I think there's some really funny parts to it. So the song is about his orthodontist girl, and there's some really funny lyrics that are a part of that. But the funniest part is like there's this line where he's singing, but in the background you could hear just randomly, "I'm sorry about that, sir." That's so funny. I think it's where he's talking about how like they accidentally hit something in the mouth when they hit the tongue.
I hope my tongue doesn't accidentally touch your fingers.
Yeah, something like that. So I'm sorry about that, sir. It's funny. They say there's another one of those background things, or I don't know who it is saying it, but it's comedic timing is spot on. So kudos to whoever that was. But I don't know. Like I think some of it's fine. Some of it's not as funny as maybe they want it to be, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that just can't stop laughing when they hear this song, and that's fine too. So hopefully they have a better time with it than I did. The song itself, the melody's fun. I mean, there's nothing really over the top about this one. I think this one's more about the joke.
PunkishDad, what do you think?
I actually have a lot of notes on this one, so gear up for a minute here.
Yeah,
But here's my story with this. So, and when I was a teenager, I had a dental hygienist tell me that I had a curious tongue because my tongue would follow her fingers around. I think that was her nice way of saying, "Hey, keep your tongue in check and like stop following my fingers around." So I'm always paranoid now. Every time I go to the dentist, I'm very, very hyper self-aware of what my tongue is doing during that process. So when I heard that line, that kind of, because he says, I hope my tongue doesn't accidentally touch your fingers because that would be weird. It very much resonated with me. But the song itself, it's fun musically. It's kind of a dumb concept, but it's dumb on purpose. Like the lyrics, the tiny vacuum thingy. It's like, I don't know. It's just kind of silly. But there are some group gang vocal woes in there that sound very 5 Seconds of Summer, and I'm pretty sure one of the guys from 5 Seconds of Summer was a co-writer on this one, and I think he made where all the music cuts out and there's this guy doing kind of a mock voice or mocking somebody and talking about the cost of healthcare or something. I'm pretty sure that's one of the guys from Five Sauce. But also, I'm pretty sure that Josh Dunn from 21 Pilots played drums on this track. He guessed on one of them. It's in my
It's
notes
this
here.
one.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the one. So, and there's little guest like vocals and spoken lines in the background all throughout the whole song. So it's fine musically. It's kind of fun. I generally don't skip it, but sometimes I roll my eyes just a little bit at some of the concepts. But I certainly have a personal relationship with some of those lyrics because I've lived some of those anxieties, if you will, because of that comment from my dental hygienist when I was 15 years old.
I wonder if John Feldman had bracket braces or if he got Invisalign, because if he's in his middle stages of life and he's going to an orthodontist, this is probably not from when he was young. But I love a song that is about dental stuff because in my real life I work in the dental industry. So anytime that can get woven into pop punk and ska, I'm pretty much into it. The song is just weird and funny. I thought there were a lot of funny lines here. I can't talk because the doctor's doing something in my mouth. Like how often when you're at the dentist, they like ask you a question. You're like, I can't answer because you're doing
Every
something.
time.
Every time.
Single time.
I dream about what your mouth looks like. You must have perfect teeth. That is so fucking weird, because obviously she's behind a mask. I guess after COVID, maybe that became more popular a line. But I think the best was, yet with your glove on, it's like you're inside me. Yeah, that turns me on. Yeah, I'm all down for this silly, stupid shit. I think it's a straight up weird, fun jam. And what better place to put it than like towards the back end of your album is to put this, like, it's a funny song, but it's not a bad song. It's super easy to kind of get with. You wouldn't skip it. I think that's good placement. I enjoyed Ortho Girl.
It's on brand. It's on brand. Lad, me and Steve never really align on humor too much. Like we like the opposite things. We were talking about a TV show the other day, and I said, "So you gotta watch this episode." He was like, "No, actually, we like the other one better." I'm like, "Oh God!" But
I mean, It Was Always Sunny. There's no bad episodes, really, but
it might be one of the best seasons I've seen. But it was the dog track versus the first one where Frank goes on the Golden Bachelor, but. Anyway, good stuff there. It's still a fun song. You're right. Can't argue with that at any point in time. And for this next one, See You Around. I don't know who's been kicking things off. Lad, why don't you start this one? Because I think you haven't done that in a while.
Sure. I don't have a ton to say about it other than our very own favorite Mark Hoppus shows up as a guest vocalist, and he has significant parts. He doesn't just take, a single verse. He takes a verse. He's in the bridge. He's in the outro. So it's a significant feature for a guest vocal. I think the track is great, and that's really about it. I think it's an album track, I would say, more so than a single, but it's a great album track. Not a skip for me.
Yeah, not a skip either. I like the fluttery guitar that effect. It's not an effect. It's just the some kind of just riff or whatever they're doing in there. But so that was interesting to me. I agree though. I like Mark Hoppus on this track. It definitely doesn't sound Goldfinger at all. That's okay. Right? I think it actually sounds more like something else. Maybe a mix of, I don't know, Goldfinger with MXPX with Blink. I'm not sure, but it's a solid song. It doesn't give me a ton to come back for more, other than obviously I like Mark Hoppus. but I don't know, man. I put not my favorite. So I hate to use the word boring because I don't think that's true, but it's definitely not one that I get up for or I would get up out of my seat to go listen to. Steve?
Yeah, I mean, Mark Hoppus is my favorite ever. I kind of felt like the vibe in this song was somewhat like ethereal, like almost like an Angels and Airways type vibe. And I loved hearing Mark, kind of come in, as you said, lad. It was nice that he had, some chops in the song. It wasn't just a couple lines or even just one verse. The chorus reminded me a lot, actually, of the Ataris because it's very, like this what we have, what we were, these like overarching nostalgic feelings tried to summarize in a short little chorus. I think I really like all of the different parts of this song, but in total, like the song doesn't really blow me away. I totally agree that it's an album track, and it does feature Mark Hoppus, who I love, and it's good, but it's not a song that I would say like stands out on this record.
For what it's worth, too, Mark Hoppus features on a new single that they just released a couple of months ago called Freaking Out a Bit. And that's a pretty good one. That's more of
Yeah.
a strong one. So we got that to look forward to.
Nice. Steve, kick us off with Liftoff.
Liftoff. So we have another guest spot here. This features Nick from 311. I thought that the chorus was kind of like a really fun 311 chorus. I guess when he does these collabs, he does kind of lean into who's joining him, what they do well. This song is kind of like a song that you can dance to. I guess that like reggae rap part is probably Nick, right? That sounds pretty much like him. The whole counting thing throughout the whole song, like one could say that it's stupid. I thought it was pretty fun. I did not dislike it. I thought it was cool. The only thing I didn't like in the song was the bridge. I thought it was a little bit weird, but overall, I thought it was a pretty cool song. Pretty cool use of Nick from 311.
Yeah, if you know 311 at all, then you'll know that counting down piece is so 311. Like that's you could hear that on any 311 album at any point in time. So, and I was a big 311 fan, so I generally was into that sound. I don't think this is a huge standout of a song. I don't know. Maybe I just don't want all this reggae, all this this to me like this isn't even ska. This is more of a reggae sound. So I guess if it's not for you, you're not going to be into that. If you don't want that song, if you don't want that sound on this album at this point in time, you're not going to be into this song. That's the bottom line. And if if you say that, I'll say that. Like the song isn't for me. But I could see where people that love this reggae sound would be into this. And I think Nick Hexum adds a definitely a dimension to the song that and other people probably couldn't bring. So you put Feldman on the song singing the same thing, it's not going to sound right. You bring him in doing that, I think it adds a really cool dimension to it, especially if you're a fan of that band. So I just wasn't as much into it because it just wasn't what I wanted to hear at this point in time. So glad.
Yeah, I mean, I like this one quite a bit. I think I agree with Steve. The countdown thing, I think it's clever. It reminds me a little bit of there are other artists who've done that, but Plain White Tees has a clever use of numbers, blending numbers and words, those different meanings. So I mean, it's a clever use of the countdown. I enjoyed that. The thing that stood out to me on this one is there is a killer bass line that drives the whole song. So if maybe listen back to it and just listen to the bass line and see if it changes your mind at all. It might not, but it's a really good one from my career. So not a skip for me either. I enjoyed this one. I thought Nick did a great job. Agree the bridge is kind of just floats there and doesn't really do a whole lot. Just it's a kind of a meandering bridge.
It's funny because a lot of 311 stuff floats around there. That's just their style.
Hmm.
So if Feldman was like, hey, Nick Hexum, why don't we write a song that sounds very similar to what you do, but make sure you put A, B, C, D, E, F, G in it too. That might be why we got what we got here. I did notice that bass, and I did not put it in my notes. for some reason it melded into the background of the song, and I lost track of really what I wanted to say about it. But you're right, like it is in there, and it definitely was notable now that you bring it to light. So I am going to listen to this one again and see if I can just listen for that specifically a little bit more. And guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the album with a song about John's little girl, Mila. Were you going to play it? Are we going to play it live? Is that okay?
Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
All right. So why don't you go ahead and kick this one off?
Go ahead, lad.
Yeah, I'll go first on this one. It's always risky when you make a very personal song for one of your kids, right? And include their name in it. It can go really well. Like I think Unwritten Law, Kaylin is one example. I think if I remember right. But it's it's a special thing. I think that his daughter probably loves it. There's a song named after her. The song itself is just it's fine. It has a cool little tremolo pedal effect with the guitar at the start. There is some toy percussion instrument peppered in there too, if you listen closely. So that's kind of fun.
I wonder if that's her.
Who knows? It could be. I mean, Travis has had his daughter play on tracks, just small parts. The one thing here is one of my sons has a friend named Milosh, and so I showed him this song and thought, I said, oh, this would be a really funny thing to show your friend Milosh because it kind of sounds the same. And so now they've been singing that to him. You're my little baby girl, Milosh. And of course, as a 13-year-old boy, he loves that. So anyway, the song itself is fine. I don't generally skip this one either. Kind of a nice way to wrap up the album with a sentimental track.
Yeah, I agree. I think you summed it up well. But I do hear a lot of emotion into this song. I think he put a lot into it. You can tell. He sings it with a little bit more emotion than maybe some of the other tracks on this album because it is about his daughter. And I really like actually when the song gets softer. I think that brings it out even more. And look, I'm the dad of two girls, so I get it, and I can relate to it. And so maybe that's why I'm a softie for this song, but I really enjoyed this one. I thought that, seeing the softer side of John Feldmann was something you definitely don't see a lot of. You're either going to see orthodontist girl type humor, you're going to see loud and aggressive. You don't see this as much, but when you do, I think he knocks it out of the park. So I'm glad they made this one. Look, it's not going to be a song I put on a playlist at a party, but it can be a great song to listen to and enjoy when I'm just listening to the album and I get to this one. So that's where I stand. Steve?
Yeah, I really like the song outside of the chorus. The chorus is just chaotic. This bam, bam, bam. It stops. Mila, Mila, Mila. Forever. It's just strange and it throws me off. The bells, the xylophone addition, I found that to be fun. I actually even like the dream state kind of end to the song, which was fun. I just thought the chorus sucked. It's nice to write a song about your daughter. Yes, that's cool. Nothing against that. I just didn't like the delivery in the chorus. It was just weird.
Heartless.
Sorry. That's my take.
All right. Well, that's fine. I don't know what to say. That was not the way that we planned to. That wasn't in the script to end it that way, Steve.
Shouldn't have gone with me
Stick
last.
to the script.
Did you guys like the chorus? Did you think the chorus was good?
I did. I thought it was because it was another one of those ones where he just kept saying what Mila over and over again, or he said it frequently. I don't have it in my ears, so I can't listen to it. But he does the changing of the chords with holding the note, I believe, in this one too, which I always think sounds great. But look, I get it. I mean, I don't think it sounds as bad as what you said, but I could see where it's sometimes with these softer songs, I think they just hit you or they don't. So nothing that I can say about that. But no, I understand. Everybody has different opinions, and we definitely had some differing opinions on this one. But I think overall, we all seemed like we actually enjoyed this one wholly. So I think it's only appropriate for us to go into the next segment, which is ranking it, where we talk about our top 3 songs. And look, we called out more than 3 that we really liked. So I'll be interested to hear what these look like. So for that, not going to necessarily go into the rules. We've done the rules before. You guys know them. Everybody knows the rules. Rank your favorite songs in order, 3, 2, 1. Lad, you are a guest, so you go first.
I followed the rules this time. I do not have an honorable mention. I know there are times where I've gotten in trouble for that before. So,
Beautiful.
number 3 for me is Put the Knife Away. Number 2 is A Million Miles. Great opener, punk rock, straightforward 2-minute tune. And number 1 for me is Get What I Need. It is the quintessential perfect ska song to me, and it's the standout on the album. It has a great killer bass line from Mike. It has awesome drumming from Travis, and it's just super fun. It gets me kind of amped up every time I listen to it.
All right. Actually, I am not surprised by that list because I think that I might agree with you on a couple of those, but we'll see. Steve, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, if I did have any honorable mentions, it might have been some of the ones that Lad had that I did not. But my number 3 is going to be Say It Out Loud. I thought that one was super different. I enjoyed it a whole lot. Totally feeling your vibe on Get What I Need. That's my number 2. And number 1, I'm going to go with Am I Deaf because I'm getting old and I like to say Get Off My Lawn. And I think that was a good way to say it.
Oh man, I have 2 that are very close. All right, I'm going to stick with my initial thoughts here. So I'm going to say number 3 is going to be Put the Knife Away. I'm going to go. I'm going to go. Say It Out Loud. That one hit me for some reason. I don't know why. Like this is not like you play this, and it's like, oh, that's Goldfinger. Really? Yeah, it is. So, but it just struck me. So Say It Out Loud, number 2. And then number 1 was A Million Miles. I can't say enough good things about this one. I'm a sucker for the first track on an album, and this one knocks it out of the park.
Nice. Do you guys want to play some setlist game?
Let's do it.
Is that a question or do we get a choice?
You get a choice. You could say no. We're done.
Definitely yes.
All right, I have 2 set lists. You tell me which one you want to do first. The first one is Goldfinger at the Warp Tour this year, July 26th. The second one is Skanksgiving, which was November 30th last year in New Jersey. We'll do them both.
All right, Lad, you pick first. I'll pick second.
Let's do Warp Tour.
All right, so Warp Tour this year, Goldfinger played 9 songs. The under-over is 1. Did they play more than 1 song or less than 1 song from The Knife?
I'm going to guess they played exactly 1.
And what song would that be?
Well, wait a minute. Is that a choice? Can you, or was it only more or less than?
Well, we're going to reveal all the answers to come. I'm just curious what he thinks it would be.
Okay.
I'm going to wait for you to go to reveal any answers.
Do you want him to guess the song or do I go now? Okay, go ahead.
Ooh, now that I look at it, I'm struggling to decide, but I'm going to guess Get What I Need.
Chris, what do you think?
I think they did 2. So more than 1.
And what songs do you think they would have done?
Tijuana Sunrise. And I think that they did. I don't think they would have done Put the Knife Away. I'll just say A Million Miles.
All right. Well, you guys both were incorrect on this one. Out of the 9 songs they did, 0 were from The Knife. They did not play any songs from The Knife at Warped Tour in Long Beach this year. But we can try one more time. At the Skanksgiving show, which is a Goldfinger show, they played 20 songs. Okay.
Double. More than double.
And there are some holiday songs and covers and stuff in the set list. So I guess I'll put, you can tell me more or less or equal to 2 songs from The Knife. And then also guess them. Chris, you go first on this one.
Well, I'm still gonna go. Well, I didn't go less. I think I learned my lesson. I'm going to go less than, and I'm going to say one, and I'm still going to go with Tijuana Sunrise as the song they did.
Okay. Lad, what do you think?
I'm gonna say equal to two, and I'm gonna say Tijuana Sunrise and Get What I Need.
All right. Well, we have little bits of correctness. Nothing 100% correct. They did play two songs from The Knife at Skanksgiving. You both guessed that they played Tijuana Sunrise, which was correct, but the other one was Put the Knife Away.
Hmm.
And thank you for
I,
playing the setlist game.
I almost went with that. I should have trusted my
Chris, you said
instinct.
it the previous one.
No, I went with the Million Miles because I felt like Put the Knife Away. I said it. I didn't think they were going to go that route. I don't know why, but it doesn't seem like a Warped Tour song. I don't know.
Well, they didn't play any of them there, but they did at their show last year.
Yeah, I was going to say if they did play a song at the Warped Tour, I didn't think that was going to be the one. But
I see.
okay. Well, guys, we did it. We got through this, and I think we've talked about, some of our thoughts and feelings about how about the rest of the Goldfinger discography to a certain extent. But I know, Steve, you're going to say that you're not really necessarily you don't necessarily have the knowledge base to be able to compare this one versus the rest of the discography. But how about just from what you know, like, do you feel like this album is better than what you have listened to?
Yeah, I would say that I was very impressed listening to this album. I pretty much dug it from the very first listen. I remember liking Never Look Back a whole lot as well. Maybe you guys probably, or Chris will probably get upset, but maybe I like this better than all I listened to was that first Goldfinger album, self-titled. But I like this one a lot. I think this is, top echelon, if you ask me. Maybe not the best, but close to it.
Yeah, Lad, you go and then I'll go.
Yeah, for me, I don't think anything will top the self-titled record. There's just too much nostalgia there, and it's just really, really good. But that being said, and I liked Hang Ups, but I would say Stomping Ground and this and Never Look Back they're all in the running for second place. It could vary depending on the day. I used to say that The Knife was better than Never Look Back, but I recently listened back to both of them. And I kind of, at that evening at least, I thought Never Look Back slightly had the edge. So it varies a little bit, but I really loved Stomping Ground when it came out too. So I kind of put all three of those albums in second place, and everything else is somewhere below that.
Believe it or not, I didn't own Stomping Ground. I told the story before, but my brother had to listen to everything that I listened to because he had to be that way, to be a little brother, and he bought this album before I could Stomping Ground before I could buy it, so it wasn't mine, and so he got to have the album, and I never really listened to it because of that. So for whatever reason, like I know some songs on Stomping Ground, so I can't use that as a frame of reference. But what I can say is I owned Open Your Eyes and Disconnection Notice. I didn't own Hello Destiny, and I listened to Never Look Back a million times. So where does this one fit? I don't know. I think that I definitely wouldn't put this above either of the first two albums, Goldfinger or Hang Ups. I really like Disconnection Notice. I didn't love Open Your Eyes as much, so I probably would put it somewhere just maybe at the same or above Disconnection Notice, which is a good thing. Again, I'm a super fan of this band. Keep that in mind. Like, no matter where it goes, I'm going to love the album. I just don't know if it's necessarily top tier. So we'll put it in like upper top tier, but not the top of the list or the top area of the list, we'll say. That's what I think. What do you guys think out there in Discord land or wherever else? Give us your thoughts. If you're a Goldfinger fan, where does this album belong? If you've listened to it, if you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. And then you come back or listen to what we have to say first and then listen to it either way. Have some fun. Listen to the album. It's definitely worth your time to do that. If you like Goldfinger, if you like a band that's mostly punk and sometimes just a little bit ska, this is one you don't want to miss. Guys, this was a ton of fun. Did you like talking about Goldfinger's the Knife?
Good pick. Good pick.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
had a blast.
Yeah, great pick. And I'm glad we did it. Glad it was a great suggestion. I'm going to be really, really looking forward to whatever that next suggestion is. You've never let us down to date. So pretty much anything you suggest, we're eventually going to get to. We'll put it like that.
I'll keep a list. Keep you guys awares as best I can.
The problem is, so many bands that I've never listened to or so many albums I've never gotten to before. Definitely going to keep us busy for a number of years, but that's okay. We like that. It's a lot of fun. And we appreciate you and thank you for being on the show. Lad, I don't know if there's anything that you want to wrap things up with before we do our wrap ups.
Not a whole lot to plug. Just I'm a dad. I'm hanging out. I'm on Instagram here and there playing some pop punk type songs. So if that seems like your jam, you can look me up there. I'm punkish_dad. If you don't put in the underscore, you'll get some other punkish dad in there. But have a
We
good
don't
time
like
there
him.
talking. Yeah, he got to the name first, I think. But yeah, I like talking guitar and pop punk on that account. So follow along if you desire.
Look for the mustache. We got to talk about the mustache, right?
Yeah, yeah. I had the mustache for a bit there, but Lieutenant Dangle has gone off duty for now, so maybe it'll make a reappearance.
There's always a chance. Always a chance. But yeah, go check out PunkishDad. I'll tell you what, like it's funny. We talk about a band on this show where we bring up a song or an album or something like that. And it's not long after that PunkishDad has something on his channel that is from that conversation, which I think is really cool. So we appreciate that. We appreciate, you being on the show and being a part of this community, and look forward to the next time we see you here. For all of you guys out there, again, hopefully you had a good time listening to us talk about this Goldfinger album, The Knife. Go check that out, and go check us out on whether you have Apple or Spotify. Either way, go check us out either or. And while you're there, give us a written review on Apple, and then give us a 5-star review on either or. If you really enjoyed the show, it helps us. It helps the show climb the charts on the podcast list. And we really like it too. And don't forget to check out also our shop, where we have a ton of great stuff out there. There's still time to buy a brand new High School Never Ends t-shirt. I have a couple myself. And don't forget about those mugs and hats that are also there as well.
That's right. Follow us on the socials at HSNEPod, like High School Never Ends Pod. Please join our Discord channel. You go to hsnepod.com. You'll find a link for that. And we have a Patreon account, which is patreon.com/HSNEPod, where you get bonus content from Chris and I and guests and all sorts of fun stuff. So check it out and support the show. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Until then, keep on rocking your dad bods, throw up your rock hands, and blast the pop punk.
Dragon Wagon.